Hello. I want to thank Joe Long for inviting me to participate in the City Art Reading Series Virtual Edition. City Art is an institution that makes Salt Lake a literary oasis in the mountains. So thank you to Joel for having me, and thank you for watching this. It's day whatever at home, and late April. I'm going to read a couple of short fictions from my forthcoming collection, New Bad News, which is out next month from Saraband Books. This first piece is called Coyote. Night calls the animals to the streets. I'm on my motorcycle, shifting gears amid my own shiftlessness. At the corner of Mohawk and Reservoir, a scrawny coyote sifts through the contents of the trash can. In neighborhood newsletter editorials, coyotes are nuisances. In folklore, they are trickster figures. Whenever one shows up, watch out. Something exciting is about to happen. I'm stopped at a traffic light, watching the coyote lap up leftover malt liquor from a 40 of Colt 45. I admire a coyote that drinks. I give my horn a quick tap of approval. The coyote looks at me with its eyes aglow. I look at the coyote. And for a split second, we understand all there is to understand. We understand each other. Nothing lasts. The light changes. Speaking of change, this next piece is called Climate Change. California was behind me, more speck than spectacle. I'd sold everything except for my Triumph motorcycle and a change of clothes. It was winter, but it felt like spring. The seasons had turned strange. Outside Houston, I was drinking with some old astronauts at the old astronaut bar. One guy had been to space. I asked him what he thought about climate change. He said, "I've been to space." I said, "Yeah, what was that like?" He said, "It's a lot like climate change. No one cares." And since it's National Poetry Month, barely, I thought I'd read a poem by one of the best, the late, great David Berman. And this is a poem from his masterpiece, Actual Air. And it's called Piano and Scene. A child needs to know the point of the holiday. His aunt is saying grace over a decaffeinated coffee, and her daughter is reading a Russian novel whose 45 chapters are set on 45 consecutive Valentine's days. Grandpa is telling the kids fairy tales from Pennsylvania's pretzel-making region, and it's hard for me to be in the mood you need me to be in right now. I'm suddenly wrapped up in the speculation on the as-yet undiscovered moods of the future, like nostalgia for a discontinued model of robot, or patriotic feelings for your galaxy, which will probably resemble nostalgia and patriotism as we know it, but with added tiers of complexity. Even if we could manage to travel in time, who's to say we could relate to those who receive us? Perhaps we would not be able to read the expressions on our own descendants' faces for what they mean. As advanced as we consider ourselves, we still allow ad copy to pander to us. The scam exposed, it endures with our permission as a parallel narrative running beside our lives, where we sit with an unbuttered baked potato and a warm beer and multiple versions of Akron, leavened with foreclosure, heartburn, and rain. Great-grandfather's hobbies, whether they be botany or magic, can barely make sense to a boy named Occupant 3. Their genius was to let us criticize them until they became boring and obvious to do so. Meanwhile, they were up ahead, busily constructing a world in which boring and obvious criticism was about the worst thing you could do. And when we reached them in time, they were waiting waiting with their multiple acrins, always one link ahead in the chain of consent. Maybe we need to give up on these simplistic us versus them oppositions we shouldn't believe in, but in our anger do. Perhaps we should be concentrating on what's going to happen an hour or two from now. Whether the human race will survive into this afternoon, what kind of foods they will put at the dinner table, and what tales they'll tell of this morning. Yes, it's by David Berman. He was a national treasure, and we miss him. Thank you to Joel Long for having me, and thank you for watching.